Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister nearly burst his brain. So excited, I thought he would start to cry. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister is out of place. First of all, he cannot tell me where and how to ask questions. I asked questions in this honourable house, where I was elected by the people of Castries East more times than him. I asked questions in this honourable house. In the Prime Minister's response, he hasn't answered one question. He hasn't said how much is in the sinking fund. He hasn't said how much is in the rock box for fuel. He has not said what are the growth prospects of the economy. He's just coming with a big charade, grand charge, trying to threaten people, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister will not threaten me. Neither will he ever threaten anybody on this side. Madam Speaker, I come back to the points I asked, and I request answers from the Prime Minister. Number one, the Prime Minister last week said civil servants cannot think, but today he's lamenting that they work under conditions. He said they couldn't think. This Prime Minister, he said so. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister says that the repayments of interest and principal together is because the banks have confidence. The opposite. The banks want their money. The banks want you to pay interest and principal together so they can get a reduction of the loan. They can ask you to pay interest on one side and principal on the other side. That's how most banks do it. But to ensure that they get repayments, they have put both capital and interest together in the repayments. That is why. It's not because of any confidence they had or any macroeconomic policy that you are speaking about. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister has not said how much is in the rock box account for fuel. He has not said it. I need to know how much is in the rock box account for fuel. There is no standing order that can say that an elected member cannot ask questions of the Minister of Finance. Not a formal question time. In the course of a debate, I'm asking for responses to some of the things you said. Respond to what you said. The Prime Minister speaks about a reduction of VAT. The Prime Minister knows very well that businesses that earn less than $400,000 per month gross income do not pay VAT. So when you come and you speak about rent, the regular person who is renting a house doesn't pay any VAT on his rental income. It's because you know to pay VAT, your income must be $400,000 per month or more. So if you do not earn $400,000 a month, you do not a year, you do not pay any VAT. So if you pay $2,000 rent, you don't pay VAT on $2,000 rent. That is again trying to fool people with talk. The people who benefit are those who their income in rent is more than $400,000 per year. These are the people who benefit, not those who get less than $400,000 per year in rent. The Prime Minister speaks about, a few minutes ago, he was in his pious self. The hotels and the cruise ships can't come because Puerto Rico is down. Now he says it's because of the Minister of Tourism, cruise ship numbers are increasing. A few minutes ago, he said that because of the situation in Puerto Rico, that cruise ships have issues. Now, a few minutes after, he says it's because of the Minister of Tourism, cruise ships are coming. A few minutes ago he said so. But you see, in one hand, only one hand, he plays the simplificat, and the other hand, the same way, he refused to tell his ministers. They cannot say that opposition members must cry. He supports it. He comes and speaks out, and he supports that man, Speaker. And he comes and plays as if he wants to cry because he likes Lucia so much. The Prime Minister speaks about the conditions of police stations and prisons. The Prime Minister wasn't involved in politics when we built the Marshall police station, when we built the Viewfort police station, when we built the police stations in January, when we built the Marigo police station, when we repaired the Sufra police station. No, the Richard police station. He wasn't in politics. He was somewhere else. He's just arrived recently. So now he speaks about police stations. Where was the Prime Minister when we were building fire stations? Where was he? Where was the Prime Minister particularly in Marigot. The situation in Marigot. Where was the Prime Minister? He wasn't there. He wasn't around. He's just recently arrived. So he doesn't know anything about the conditions of police stations. He doesn't know anything about it. Some members of the cabinet know. So we talk about police station, fire stations. I agree. There needs to have improvements in police stations. But we're not coming here and grant charge and pretend as if police stations, you are the ones who have to repair police stations. Say what you found. This government, our government, we are the ones who improved the physical conditions and built new police stations and new fire stations in St. Lucia. This government, Madam Speaker. Then he speaks about prisons. Who built the Bordelais prison? Who built the Bordelais prison? We had to borrow, and I want to go back in the borrowing profile. Because you talk about borrowing $400 million in 1997, what happened now? I'll take you back to what we borrowed for. I'll take you back. We were the ones who had to build the Bordelais prison. And some of your own ministers were very happy when the Bordelais prison was being built. We built it. We had to borrow to build it. We are the ones who had to borrow to build 5 new secondary schools to get the children of St. Lucia, give them at least an opportunity to go to secondary school. We had to borrow for that. We had to borrow for that. We had to borrow to build the police stations. We had to borrow to build the fire stations. We had to borrow for that. So, and I'll tell you something. You speak about bonds, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister, he knows very well. He knows extremely well, or you should know, that the situation in the bond market was caused because of 2 countries in the region that were going through IMF structural adjustment programs, and each one of them had to take a cut in the bond rate. So the confidence in bonds fell because these 2 countries were under IMF programs, so the whole region was seen as a region of high risk because of the IMF, because of the issues with bonds in these 2 countries. These 2 countries, they've swallowed the IMF medicine, so there's renewed confidence in the region. St. Lucia doesn't borrow as itself. St. Lucia borrows in the regional securities market. So what affects the entire region affects us. So the only reason why your bonds may be selling better now is because 2 or 3 countries in the region went for an IMF structural adjustment program. So the situation has improved. So that is what is at the hospital, and he will march to the hospital and stay there until they open the dialysis machine. The same Prime Minister, you can't play this pious thing on me. Go try that. The same Prime Minister said he would march. He would march to the London hospital, and we would remain there. And he said, "Fashe." So don't pretend in this is pious pretense as if you are all holy and then you like the people of St. Lucia so much. You said you would march. You talk about CIP. You wrote letters when CIP was coming into place. You wrote letters all over the region. All over. You said that you would form a body that would be made up of the private sector, of people from it. And you created the CIP board the same way. You made no changes. You were the one who started the dot in the CIP. You, not us. What we said is because of the changes in the CIP program, because of the fact that you, and only yesterday, the Prime Minister sent Kit, said he's not following you. He will not reduce the prices. He said so. He did not. He was the one who said so. You were the one who began the doubt in the CIP by your letters and your petty politics. You were the one in opposition. So don't try and pretend that now that is us. You started it. You were the one, Madam Speaker. You were the one. You were the one who spoke about marching to the Owen Hospital. You started. You were the one. And I'm happy. I want you to go into St. Jude Hospital. I want to go to St. Jude Hospital. You must go there. You say you must go into the airports. You always come and threaten people. Come and go into it. Do what you have to do. Go into St. Jude Hospital. Don't threaten people. Go into it. You were the one. And you spoke at forensic lab. You were the one who said that St. Lucia should not have a forensic lab. That the forensic lab should go regionally. You said so when you were in opposition. And you know very well that the forensic lab got damaged because of an earthquake. And you know very well the problems at the forensic lab. And you also know that when you came into power, an audit of the forensic lab had been done, And you know very well that all you are doing is you're just following the results of the audit of that forensic lab. You know that very well. So again, do not come in this honorable house and try to play on people's emotions, man speaker. You know very well, man speaker. You know. Then you speak about courts. You speak about the courts. Again, you should know that getting money to build these kind of buildings are very difficult. Getting concession finance for that is very difficult. You Prime Minister, you ought to know that. And you also know that when you came into government, you found well advanced plans to begin the construction of a Hall of Justice on the Millennium Highway. You know that very well. If you to change it, that's your fault. But you know that. You know that. Further, man speaker, you speak about taxation. You speak about taxation, man speaker. And you know, the present thing about this government is in the face of all the facts and the reality, they still believe they can talk themselves away, or they can threaten somebody, or they can say something that will cause somebody to be afraid. Oh, we're coming for you, we're coming for you. Come for us, come. So, man speaker, the Prime Minister, in the face of all the facts, you borrowed $40 million for the January water supply. You borrowed $30 million. You borrowed $40 million for the tourism project. You borrowed $30 million for the January water supply. You are borrowing $4.3 million for the DVRP. You borrowed $7.5 million for the youth empowerment. If you add that, if you can, you'll get $86.6 million. And if you add the $40 million you're borrowing today, it will come to $122.6 million. And the document you have in front of this honorable house is you want to have $103 million for financing of the 2017 budget. That is a fact. I'm not saying you can't borrow more, but it's a fact. You are borrowing more than when you came to this honorable house on the 27th of June and you said you needed $103 million for financing the 2017-2018 budget. That's a fact. And you also said in that resolution that you want $262 million for refinancing of the existing debt. And I said to you that what you were doing was wrong because you would have to come back to this honorable house to borrow more money because $103 million would not be enough. And history has proved me right. And regardless of whatever you say, the facts are the facts. That is the money that you borrowed, and you came in this honorable house with a resolution for $103 million. And at that time, I told you that you would have to borrow more, and you are borrowing more. So, Madam Speaker, all this grand charge and this emotion and this thing about how we found the country, you must understand, when you go into government in 2016, you found an economy that the trajectory had begun to improve. When we came in 2011, when you came to government in 2016, all the facts show it. The IMF reports, you commissioned a report from the CDB. You commissioned a report. You commissioned a report on. Don't fear that, man. You're dying. You commissioned a report by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank on the economy. And if you look at that report, they will tell you, first page, executive summary, notwithstanding the improvement in fiscal performance in the past 4 years. See Appendix 1. First page. We always make the point that the economy needed some structural changes. We always agree to that. But do not give people the impression that when you came into government, you found an economy that was in such dire straits that you could do nothing, and it's you and your people and the hard work and the way you can go outside and travel that it makes St. Lucia so good and give us time to improve St. Lucia. You are the one. You found an economy that was improving. It was not where it ought to be, but it was improving. Then we talk about tourism growth. I want to put it to you. want to put it to you that most hotels in this country have shown a decrease in arrivals. Most of them. Do not speak about the small hotels. Don't talk about the small hotels and guest houses. Don't speak about them. The reason why, and the facts will prove me right, the reason why this country has shown an improvement in tourism numbers, and I'm not vexed about that. You pretend as if I'm annoyed because tourism numbers increase. I've been in my constituency working at Royalton. Why is it I want not to work? That is where your mind is. It's where the mind. You understand? Why would I be annoyed if we work in the hotels? Why would I be annoyed? But the facts are, the only reason why there is an increase in the hotel visitor arrivals is because the Royalton Hotel brought in 500 new rooms into the room stock. That's a fact. I'm not saying arrivals have not increased, but they've increased because of the 500 rooms that have come into stock from Royalton, and because 2 or 3 other hotels have high occupancies. But I mean, that is not something you can change. You can't change it. That's a fact. And you ask the questions the right place. It's the arrogance that has seeped into you so soon. How can you tell a member of parliament when to ask questions? This is the parliament of the people. This is where the people elected us to put us in government. We have a right to ask anything we want here. You have a right to ask anything you want here. So you can't tell us when to ask or what to ask, Madam Speaker. We are going to ask questions in the parliament about the performance of the economy of St. Lucia. So, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, on the section 14 of the standing orders. Yes. Standing order 14. Nature of questions. And then on the section 15 and 15.2, 1 and 2, highlights the method of asking questions. Madam Speaker, it is clear on this that a question shall not be asked without prior notice unless it is of urgent character or relates to the business of the day. Now, Madam Speaker, if the member for Castries East is going to accuse the Prime Minister or the member for Mikud South of saying that he is disrespecting him by telling him how to answer or when to ask questions, then the member is not following the rules established in the question and on the section of the standing orders that explains how questions can be asked. And the member should desist from persisting along that line of saying that you cannot ask me questions, or you cannot tell me I cannot ask you a question, if the standing orders makes it very clear as to the method and procedures of asking questions.
Honourable Minister and Member for Castries South East. Whilst I take the point that you raise, this refers to questions in general when a member would ask any minister for questions, regarding questions. So, you are correct to state that there is a procedure for asking questions. However, this is the procedure for asking questions generally. For example, the point that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is asking the Prime Minister questions which he believes pertinent to the Prime Minister's portfolio in respect of a motion for borrowing which he puts on the floor and that is currently being debated. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition has the right to put questions to the Prime Minister in that regard. The point that I wish to clarify is with respect to the general point on questions, the nature of questions. It is if, for example, a member of the opposition wishes to put questions to the Minister for Agriculture, or yourself, for example, not on a matter currently being debated on the floor. Are you understanding my point? So this is in respect to the interpretation of the point on questions, how questions are put. It is not in regard or in respect to questions put by a member in response to whether it's a motion or a bill being currently debated on the floor. So the Honorable Leader of the Opposition is correct to ask the Prime Minister, who is the Minister with responsibility for finance, to ask him questions regarding financial matters as regards borrowing and the motion on the floor. I have so ruled, sir. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, can I take the intervention, please?
Madam Speaker, while I clearly understand what you're saying, the fact is, Madam Speaker, is that if in fact the kinds of questions he wants to ask are questions that must be put to me in writing, they have absolutely nothing to do with
Honorable Prime Minister, can I have a moment, please? Honorable Prime Minister,
to answer them.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, I clearly said that I would want the Prime Minister to be heard. So I did. I requested and I said that I would want the Prime Minister to be heard. Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't want to be accused of not wanting to answer questions, Madam Speaker, and I just wanted clarity on the point that you made. If the honourable member wants to ask me questions that are factual questions about the state of the economy, my understanding is that those are the questions that can be put to me. If in fact he's raising questions, the questions he's asking have nothing to do with the bill that we're passing. And in fact, I am under no obligation to answer any question that he puts in that format. Versus, if he puts a written request to me, I'm obligated to answer those questions. So I'm saying to my learned colleague, Madam Speaker, if he wants me to answer those questions, put it in the form of writing, and I'll be very happy to answer those questions. But if he's going to put it and try to phrase it in the way that he's not, I have no obligation to answer him in those circumstances.
Prime Minister, and I will respond and say to you that you are incorrect in your interpretation of it, in that when we're talking about borrowing, which is a motion that you have on the floor and that you have put and is being debated, all of this forms part of the debate.
Madam Speaker, again I'm going to rise to disagree with you. Because what I'm asking, Madam Speaker, did we not have an appropriations bill? Did the amount that we were going to borrow not approve the appropriations bill? And I'm at pains to say to everybody again, including my learned colleague, that we're not borrowing any money outside of what we've been approved in the appropriations bill. And so therefore I don't understand how what he is asking comes into play. But they are relevant questions. And if he wants me to answer those questions on the economy, there is a process for him to do so. And that is, man, he can write, and I will take those and I will come to the House, and I'm obligated to answer what he writes.
This is borrowing within the appropriation process. Already put in the House. All of the grants and the social economic
My mic is still on. I wish to remind honorable members of this House that as Speaker of this House, I am the authority on the rules, and I'm not going to say that I may not be wrong, but I wish to remind honorable members that this mace recognizes and is the symbol of my authority of this House, and if I rule on a point, members are duty bound to understand that I have so ruled. This is all I'm going to say on this matter at this moment. Honorable Leader of the Opposition, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I want to bring the member of Castries Southeast back to the meeting of the 8th December 2015. If you can go green handed, you will see the amount of questions he asked. And no one stopped him. But Madam Speaker, that is the problem we have. The Prime Minister got up and he asked me endless questions. He accused me, everything I said, he accused me. He asked me endless, he said I was misleading. And now he wants to tell me the form in which, in a debate to borrow $40 million, which the taxpayers have to pay, I cannot ask what's the state of the economy. I have to write you to ask you that. What country we are living in? So, Madam Speaker, and I repeat, the document I have in my hands says $103 million for financing, June the 27, 2017. And to date, we've borrowed $122.6 million. I'm not saying it's illegal, I'm saying it's a fact. So, it never said bonds here. It does not say bonds. It said for financing, and if you go back to the budget, and if you go back to the Prime Minister's budget statement on page 44, here's what he says. Other loans totaling $43.1 million from the Caribbean Development Bank, $24.9 million from the World Bank, $13.6 million from the Republic of China, Taiwan, $1 million from the National Insurance Corporation, $2.2 million from the Creative Fund for Urban Economic Development. And it goes further. Government instruments. That's where it is. Government instruments, including bonds, $208 million. And treasury bills of $50 million, that's what he said. And he said loans were for $84 million. That's what the budget statement says. That's what it says. I'm not saying what he's doing is illegal. I'm saying that I said that he had to come back here to borrow more. And he's coming back to borrow more. That's a fact. Because you borrowed $122 million and here you have $102 million. That's what you said. The facts speak for themselves. The facts speak for themselves. So, speaking now? So, I want to put it to you, Madam Speaker, that the impression that the Prime Minister is giving is that he found this country in a state of disrepair. I am saying that when the Prime Minister became Prime Minister, the country, all wasn't bright and rosy in the country. We admitted that. But we said that the country was on the verge, there were signs of improvement for many reasons. Reason number one, the regional and international situation was changing. I have made the point that because of the bond situation, where I don't want to mention any country's name, free countries were under structural adjustments. These countries had to take a haircut on their bonds. That means that if the bond was worth $20, they had to go to the creditor and say, listen to me, I'll pay you 15. So the whole confidence in the regional market was lacking. These countries have come out of the problems because the IMF structural adjustments. So the entire region is benefiting from that change because we buy our bonds on the regional security market. So we come here to grandstand and to say because of you in government, there's no confidence. That isn't true. That's all I'm saying. So, Madam Speaker, regardless of what will be said, regardless of the grandstanding, regardless of the appearance of piousness and self-righteousness, the point is, this country right now is not experiencing, the people of the country are not feeling any sense of economic development or economic growth. They are not feeling it. The so-called development or the growth is not being felt in the pockets of the people of St. Lucia. And the people of St. Lucia, the Chamber of Commerce said that sales have increased. They never said profits have increased. The Chamber of Commerce says, and the reason why sales have increased, sales can increase for several reasons. Sales can increase because the cost of goods imported are higher. And if you go, in fact, when you spoke about confidence, the cost of imported goods are higher. When you went, somebody told me, I got an email from someone, and they said to me that they had bought butter for a particular price. And when they went back to the supermarket, the butter had gone up by $2. And if you speak to the regular housewife, she will tell you that prices in the supermarket have gone up, not because of you. I'm not blaming you for that. But I'm saying, and when the price of these goods go up, the volume of sales will increase because they pay more for the goods. If they had said profit increase,
it's not quantity demanded.
It doesn't profit increase. I'm not querying that. I'm not querying that. So what I'm saying to you, don't come and take credit for that. Don't take credit for it. The Chamber of Commerce said sales have increased. The Chamber of Commerce never said that profits have increased. And a measure of business is profits.
Revenue maximization.
So if the sales increase, and the cost of sales increase, if the sales increase and the cost of sales increase also, there is no effect on profit. If the sales increase and the cost of sales increase, there is no effect on profit. So when the Chamber of Commerce said sales increase, they never said profits have increased. So don't come and boast about that. Don't boast about it.
You're on track. You're on the ball.
Madam Speaker,
he's on course.
I intended this morning, as I started, to have a civil debate on the borrowing. But when the Prime Minister gets up and in his normal style and believes that he's speaking to school children and believes he can attack members of the side and believe he's master, that he says things that people must shut up, I have to go on. If the Prime Minister can't believe that he can shut me up, he can't, and he can't threaten me either. And I'm saying to the Prime Minister, I reserve the right to speak in this Parliament. I reserve the right within the standing orders to obey the standing orders, and all you can do is victimize me. I thank you.